Breakfast.
The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
Issues of the day under T-Radar.
It is this time we do like to talk issues on this Tuesday with T-Radar, and he joins us this morning via live Skype video. Good morning, T-Radar.
Live Skype video. Is there any other kind?
Yeah. No, that's the point, isn't it? On demand, delayed.
So YouTube is kind of like a delayed Skype in a way.
Yeah, it's true. Depending on your internet connection, it could be very delayed, and then you get, I want to talk. Oh, no, who's talking? Oh.
Yes. Fortunately, we live in that world where it's interesting. There's been all of this discussion recently about whether or not high-speed broadband is a human right. That's the world we're now living in. Whereas instead of just saying, well, the right to I guess warmth and a house and food and decent labour laws, and now we're in such a sort of an age where you've got it's an absolute imperative that it's a human right to have high-speed broadband, and therefore we must go out and spend all of this money putting the broadband infrastructure in.
Feels like my human right.
What's that?
Feels like my human right.
Well, of course it does, yeah. And I guess when you're out in the provinces, where I'm about to head in a few days, where they barely have functioning sort of dial-up internet, yes, absolutely. You'd be trying to send a file or do some business online, as is the want of many people, simply can't do it. Faster to breed some pigeons, tie a note to them and send them off.
Yes, T-Radar. Hey, have you heard about this tomato crisis at the moment?
Yes, it's suddenly, a few weeks ago, I'm not sure whether we talked about it, in Australia someone poisoned all of their little tomato seedlings, millions of the things, wiped them out. And now it turns out Italy is about to face an enormous tomato crisis. Their crops falling through the floor, temperature-wise and all of that. It's not been a good season. And suddenly you think, how vulnerable are we as a planet to a tomato crisis?
Yeah.
We use tomatoes in everything.
Yeah, and not only fresh, but canned as well. And most of our canned tomatoes comes from Italy.
They do.
Yeah.
Somehow they managed to get them here for like 89 cents. How is that possible?
But not every can of tomatoes is created equal, in my opinion.
No, that's right. I went to buy some New Zealand ones the other day because I like to do a little bit of local, but they were all those weird flavoured ones, and they all had all sort of the added sugar and all of that, and I didn't want that. I just wanted tomatoes. Ordinary tomatoes.
Well, I'm going to be, this weekend, I think I'm planning on planting my first tomato seedlings because I've got a little greenhouse. It's a new addition. Yeah.
Is it a tunnel or just a little sort of pop your seedlings? Can you stand amidst it?
No. Unfortunately, not enough space for that. But so I'm being sort of smart about it. I've got a shelving unit that's got a big plastic cover over the top.
There are wonderful thing. For a moment there, I envisioned you as some sort of benevolent dictator amongst your orchids. Sitting there with your iPod on, listening to some of the new tunes that New Zealand musicians are producing, looking to insert some into your show, while around you the moist humidity of the orchids comforted your physical well-being.
I had a moment like that once where I went to visit a colleague, and we were having a sort of a meeting out on his veranda. But as we were talking, he had these little bonsai trees, and he had these clippers, and he was just very quietly clipping the bonsai as we chatted.
Had a cat on his lap or anything like that he was stroking? Didn't wear an eye patch?
Almost.
Nonetheless, you'll be fine then. You'll have your little tomatoes. You'll all be good as gold. That's assuming, of course, you survive the next couple of years without being killed by a drink driver. Well, the government apparently does research to see whether or not they should lower the drink driving limit.
Yeah, this is a bit of a bit of a back down, really, or not a back down, but it's just a bit cowardly, really, on behalf of the government.
Think so? No, it's an interesting one. What always gets me in situations like this is that Labour, it was Darian Fenton and others in the Labour camp have come out and said exactly this. It's cowardly, and they haven't done this, and they failed to act decisively. And you sit back and you think, hang on a second, you actually did have 9 years to sort this out, and if you considered it to be such an incredible problem,
yep,
why didn't you do it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, they're all cowardly, all of them, the lot of them, those politicians, T-Radar.
Exactly. The other day, it was even last week, when they sort of had the supposed back down on mining, and people said, oh, they've fallen apart, they've succumbed. It's like, I actually thought, well, no, you listen to the public, and they went, yeah, no, we're really not into that. And you went, no, fair enough. I'm sure there's many other sort of subversive kind of angles to it, but I found it sort of quite charming. Not my sort of high story of the week, though. Highlight of the week, if you're a young kid and you fall 16 floors and your relatively short life flashes before your eyes and you imagine you're going to die, it must be quite surprising then to be within a few hours to be up walking around again.
How far did this guy fall?
16 floors.
Wow.
That's a long way.
That's would be, you'd think, pretty much totally unsurvivable.
About 50 metres. You'd think so. And so he felt, apparently he was cushioned he landed sort of on a car park roof or something, and it must have sort of just been the absolutely perfect density, and he must have fallen absolutely the right way and, sort of smashed through it. It's almost as unbelievable as if he'd fallen out and landed in the paper recycling and landed in an enormous pile of cardboard boxes.
Yeah, or one of those bouncy verandas where you go boing.
Yeah. Oh, that would like you see in the flicks. But then you've got to think, what's life going to be like after that?
Yeah.
If you've fallen 16 floors and survived, you're going to have a different sort of outlook on life. What if you start to think that, hey, I've got special powers?
Have you seen?
What if he does have special powers?
Have you seen Kick-Ass? That's a movie to go see.
No, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, you go see that.
I shall.
Talking about movies, rom-coms, T-Radar.
The rom-com. Look, many people perhaps have gone for a bit of a date or a bit of a relationship warm-up, gone to see a rom-com, thought it might help provide them with a little bit of bonding. Apparently, the happy ever after sort of rom-com is actually affecting people's lives because people go to view it. There's these, the inevitable sort of happy ending, and afterwards they go, well, hang on, my life doesn't work like that, ergo, there must be something wrong with me. There must be something wrong with our relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, doesn't fit the world. Yeah, but I mean, with the romantic comedies have been around for years, and probably even longer. The romantic novel.
Yes, well, yes, and the Mills and Boom and all of that kind of thing. But the great thing about this survey was they actually surveyed Australians, 1,000 Australians, to see what they thought of rom-coms. I thought I would love to have seen the male versus the female statistics. I imagine that would have been something they might have wanted to have banned, the males of Australia, the rom-com.
Yeah.
Unlike Gore, this story of the week. Apparently, Gore, the police station, they've got all this marijuana and they don't know what to do with it from time to time, so they burn it in the incinerator. And the smoke, particularly I imagine in this kind of heavier, denser atmosphere, the weather at the moment, the smoke drifts over the town, and the town is inundated with the smell of burning marijuana. I
can't remember if it was if it's a folklore or what, but there was the classic story in the 80s of the cops who they'd gather up all the harvests and then put them in a big pile and burn it, but then they'd stand around on their pitchforks,
Yes, yes, you always had those kind of stories. Or the locals would gather around downwind when there was going to be a burn and inhale the fragrance. That goes along with those other stories of, that when they were using helicopters to pull all the plants out of places like the Coromandel, and of course they were, in seed, and the seeds were falling everywhere, increasing the kind of wilderness growth of it. But no, not happy, the people in Gore. Don't like it at all.
Hey, finally, T-Radar, this morning I'm getting people to send in their favourite salmon recipes. And I'm wondering if you as a culinary champion that I've seen you be before, have you got a favourite recipe, a salmon recipe?
No, I used to be very sceptical about salmon. It was always that thing that was on the menu if you didn't sort of want to eat the meat dish at functions, and it was always a bit sort of slightly poached and insipid. But my favourite one is I like to get that kind of smoked salmon, and I like to have it on cream cheese on a bagel on a Saturday or a Sunday morning.
Yeah, simple.
A lovely little bit of a treat.
Yeah,
that's mine.
I'd say that would be well up there with mine as well. Thanks very much, T-Radar.
I did have some out of a can the other day.
Oh, not recommended. Not the same.
Just a little bit of spine.
Yeah, that's like tuna in a can versus fresh tuna sashimi. Yeah, there's a big difference.
Not even the same.
No,
not at all.
No, probably not even the same fish.
Next week from somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, you'll be out on the road. Good, Oak.
All right.
There goes T-Radar. Time now.